Corruption is so bad in Nigeria that you cannot defend anybody and you cannot trust anybody.
Corruption is not about embezzling money. Selfish interest is also corruption. When you have a selfish interest against your nation, it's corruption.
That doesn't change the Nigerian in us. Are you hearing me?
They gave us cars. And when they gave us cars, I refused it. Otherwise, I won't get a house in Bodija Estate.
What's the problem with the Southerner becoming the chairman of Nigeria?
I don't know. We have problems.
My brother, your guess is as good as mine. I've always been asking this question.
Are you saying that government is not doing well in regards to the policy?
No, they are doing very well.
There's no way we can look at women and children issues without even looking at discussing with the men.
Tackles only on OSBC. Hello viewers, you're welcome to the program today. This is Tackles on OSBC TV. My name is Deji Adefila. Today on the program, I'm going to be talking concerning the educational sector in Nigeria, and I have an actor that plays a major role in that regard. I'm talking about the acting Vice Chancellor, Bola Ige University here in the state of Osun, Professor Oguntola Jeleel Alamu. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Prof, well, I want to first of all congratulate you on the new, the convocation you just had, the two sets, 2013-2014, and also 2014-2015. It was a major success for you, being the acting VC. But there's something that came up immediately after that convocation. Of course, I started seeing it everywhere on social media that, come on, how come you have 51 first-class students? Is it that easy to make it here in your school?
Wow, thank you very much. That is a very good observation. When we talk about first class from universities, people want to see the possibility of that actually being the truth. First class is not a class of degree that is easy to come by.
Yeah.
For a student to make a first class, he has to be up and doing, he has to burn midnight oil, it has to be exceptional. For us as an institution, Osun State University, producing 51 first-class graduates, they have been found worthy of that class of degree. I give you an example. In this university, over the years, we've been producing first class. And these products have been able to stand tall after school. Most of them went to overseas countries for their master's programs.
Okay.
And they come back also with distinctions. Meaning that first class from this university is not just any first class. It's a kind that compares favorably with their peers around the globe. So for us to have produced that number, I bet they are quality graduates who have proved themselves worthy of that class of degree.
I know a lot of people are still going to question that, because if you look at the way education was, let me say in your days, even when you were in school, to come by first class, in a university, it's not always that easy. Most of the times when a university is, convocating students, you hardly hear 5.
Thank you very much.
7.
Mr. Adefila, that's
51
correct.
in 2 sets.
Mr. Adefila, that's true. During the days of our teachers and our periods too in the university, you would agree with me that this part of the world had not advanced in ICT, information and communication technology.
Okay.
During those days, before you make a first class, you have to read, you have to study hard, look for materials where they were not even available. You spend hours in the library looking for materials. These days, you don't have to spend hours looking for materials. With your devices, your mobile devices. All you need to do is press some button, and you have the facts that you want to acquire. So it's so easy for them to acquire knowledge these days compared to those periods under reference. So it's easier these days to come by qualitative materials, and all you need to do is just get focused.
Yeah.
Complement that with regular attendance in class. Go to your laboratories, conduct your practicals for courses that are practical oriented.
Yeah.
Then you get your fine grade at the end of the day without having to toil very hard the way we do. Let me just take you to what happens outside Nigeria in developed world.
Yeah.
The kind of period you spend here in this country trying to acquire knowledge, you don't have to spend that much there. It's easier there, and that's why you see most of our products going to UK, going to US, and excelling, topping the class.
Yeah.
Because the kind of energy they put into studies in this country before they acquire what they need to acquire is much.
But why do we still talk about half-baked graduates in Nigeria? You know, a lot of people, despite all of these that you're saying, they believe that the graduates in Nigeria still cannot, they still not up to the standard. You know, even myself, recently, I was speaking with a graduate, one of the core members that was posted to my office. I was stunned with what this girl was saying. It was totally rubbish. You know, to compose a sentence is trouble for some graduates in Nigeria. If they have access to ICT now, why do we still have a huge number of them not performing to standard? All
right, if you say huge number, I may not agree with you. I may not agree with you.
Okay.
For every class, even when you assess a class, once you have normal distribution, we are satisfied. You have not too large a number excelling. You have slightly higher than that number coming midway.
Can you put a statistics on, let's say, 50 in a class?
Okay, if you have 50 in a class,
yes.
And you have 5 of them coming up with first class, and you have about 25 coming midway. Then down the remnants.
Yeah.
You have. Let me just give you how that curve looks like. It's like this. Hop, then it drops.
Okay.
So if your sample space happens to be the one at the rear, that will be your conclusion. That most of them are half-baked graduates. They are not doing well. That does not mean you do not have average students who are doing very well. And that does not mean you still do not have the exceptionally brilliant ones who are doing very well. I just gave you examples of some of our graduates who led their class in UK, despite the very harsh condition of education.
What should we do to make our environment, enabling, to make it enabling for education in Nigeria? You know, I understand quite well what you said. People travel abroad and they come out fine because the environment is quite good. What can we do?
Yeah, thank you very much. I have that very strong belief that we'll get there. We'll get there. The government over the years have also been making efforts towards improving this the quality of our graduates.
Yeah.
You would recall that even at the federal level, you have series of interventionist agencies like Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund. They invest massively in education, trying to ensure that for TET Fund.
Yeah, in the education system generally, not even TET Fund. Well, that are not trying to make it work.
Well. For in every society, you may not be able to 100% rule that out, but that does not mean we are not making progress.
Okay.
Like I gave some statistics during our convocation.
Yeah.
The number of PhD holders in this university over the last 1 year increased by 29. Yes, we have another set of 29 PhD, postgraduate students who are pursuing PhD programs. within and outside Nigeria who are about completing their programs. They were all sponsored through these interventionist agencies, TED Fund and the likes.
Yeah.
So through that, lecturers are exposed to the modern day teaching facilities. They're exposed to the state-of-the-art researches, such that by the time they come back to class, they impact that on our students. And the results will be better products. That's at the tertiary level, government intervention. Even at the primary level, let's even come back to Osun State here. You would recall that the government of the state invested heavily towards reviving primary education.
Yes.
Because, truth be told, if the foundation is poor, what do you expect at the end of the day? So with these renewed efforts towards repositioning our education system, I am sure very soon Nigeria will get there.
Okay, Prof, there is something disturbing again that I would like to talk to you about. You know, it was very, very rife in Nigeria, say in the late 90s and the early 2000s, but it went down at some time. But recently, there have been a lot of series of occurrences of cultism in schools. You know, there is one that happened in Abia State, I think it was just about, not quite long, that some students were beheaded. I mean, it went that bad, that behead another one, you know. Cultism in schools, how can we tackle it?
Well, we'll do our best as teachers, we'll do our best as parents, then we pray to God Almighty. This is something we should get done with as fast as possible. You know, it's a very serious ill in our society.
It is.
Good for me, in this university, we do not have serious issues about that. Perhaps this was because our parent forum, they play vital roles, educating their wards, giving them warnings from time to time. Lecturers in schools should continue to engage students with what we call class advisorship. By class advisorship, you are one-on-one with your student.
Okay.
You are able to talk to him. You are able to ask him to share his personal experiences with you. By the time he does that, you may be able to pick out certain things that may lead him to that destructive direction. Then you quickly curb it. There is what we call student-staff colloquium. If we begin to engage ourselves in student-staff colloquium regularly, we'll be able to monitor these students. We'll be able to know what their challenges are, and we'll be able to tackle it before they get introduced to that evil act. Our parents have a lot to do as far as this is concerned, because you find out that some of these bad ones, they actually lack moral upbringing from home. If our parents invest more in their children, devote more time to talk to them, ask them what are you up to in school, pay them unscheduled visits, then gradually we'll be eradicating this scourge from our society. On the part of government, they're also trying their best. There are institutions where they have zero tolerance for cultism. In my university, once you are caught, you are gone. There is no second chance. There is no second chance. It's clearly written in the student handbook. They all have student handbooks. In fact, all penalties are clearly written there. Get yourself involved in exam malpractice, whichever type. Maybe you brought handkerchief into the exam hall, you know your penalty already. You disturb another student, you know your penalty already. You are asked to stand up, to answer questions based on suspicion, and you want to fight, you have your penalty already. So once you commit it, you know what your penalty will be. So this should be publicized. It should be on the internet, should be on the website of institutions. Let them know. Once this happens, you are out. I guess that's why this institution has not been found wanting in that area.
In that regard.
We tackle these things head on.
Head on. Okay, there is this thing. The guy that had the first class, that came the overall best student in your school here. I don't know how true that is. That he used to ride Okada. Did you hear about it?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's correct. Let me tell you, sir. That a student is from a very poor background does not mean he cannot excel. The person standing before you today became an orphan so early in life. During my university days, you know what I do to survive? I carve wood.
Wood?
Yeah, wood. Plywood. I visited a technical college.
Okay.
That's at Hawe, Technical College at Hawe.
Okay. Yeah.
And I saw students working with what we call a small hand saw.
Okay.
Fret saw.
Yeah.
Cutting through plywood. I became interested. And I stood by, looking at how they did it. They write names, congratulations, happy birthday, and they make use of this white glue to place those things on. Yeah. So I became interested. And I laid my hand on it. I tried it without any other teacher. I was able to make things like that. And I go back to my campus.
What did that have to do with your engineering?
Oh my God, I just discovered I could do it.
Wow.
I started doing that. And started making little money to sustain myself in the university. I lost my dad and my mom at my 100 level.
Wow.
So that was how I survived my university days. So that you are from a poor background does not mean you cannot excel in life. The students you mentioned rode Okada to sponsor himself. And he came back finally with first class from this university.
Wow.
He would recall that the visitor to the institution was so glad.
Yeah.
He took photograph with him, took photograph with the mother. The proud mother was weeping that day.
Yes, I saw that.
So that a student had poor background does not mean he cannot top his class.
Okay, yeah, Prof. I basically before we go on the show, I know you look quite young, for this kind of a thing. And this young VC. When I came around to your school, I've asked a lot of questions, and many of the students that I spoke with, they were always saying something that I've not seen this kind of VC before, that allows everybody, even students, to walk into his office. Is that a gimmick to make things work between you and your staff here?
Well, thank you, Mr. Adefila. If that were to have been a gimmick, do you think it could hold water for so long a time? I think the magic one there is focus, determination, not to give up. I just told you, I came from a poor background. My dad is a farmer. My mom, a petty trader in the village. They brought me up the way you see me today. They brought me up to respect elders. They taught me humility. My dad was an epitome of humility. And that was in me. So it's not a gimmick. You don't borrow it. It has to be part of you.
Part of you.
So my staff, my students, what they saw in me that they were talking about was actually the truth. They were not making things up. How I came to this office was not by my making. I was just a poor dean of a faculty of engineering. And the call came that I should hold forth in this institution. Something I've never told God I would like to be. I worked close to the office of Vice Chancellor. I was once the Director of Academic Planning. I knew how tasking that office is. How killing. Honestly, viewers at home, I never prayed to God to be one. I never. I do tell people who care to listen, I have never told God I would like to be a VC. No. But when the call came, I had to take it up. And God had been there for me.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you this. What's your take on the allegations that that some universities, rather, in Nigeria, the way they handle the post-UTME exams. They believe that some of the schools, it has been alleged that some of the schools always have a way of arranging things for even their students before they are admitted in the school. This allegation has been right for some time.
Well, that would be unfortunate if those behind that allegation actually were speaking the truth. That would be very, very bad. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that, because the essence of post-UTME is to have a blend from the results from the UTME.
Yeah.
And what the university would also want to test the candidates on. In the past, in the olden days, each institution has that freedom to examine the candidates. But when the idea of the central examination came, though it's not peculiar to Nigeria, you have that central system also even in the United Kingdom. And the performances from JAMB at some point in time became, I won't say questionable. The university community felt, okay, why don't we also introduce hours so that we can have a blend from the central exam conducted and the one the institution would want to conduct. Yeah, so you find out that the cutoff point at the end of the day will be an aggregate of the UTME score and the post-UTME score. In some institutions, 50-50. 50% UTME, 50% post-UTME. So that at the end of the day, even if the UTME had been marred with malpractices, you want to be sure yours would not be marred with malpractices. And by the time you have a blend of the two, you come by an optimum score. Yeah. That would be fair enough to admit students. In some institutions, like ours, we go extra mile to adding a component that borders on personal interview with candidates. That gives you an opportunity to know ab initio, maybe this candidate that is coming in had been rusticated elsewhere. You begin to get to know, no, if we bring this kind of candidate in, it will spoil our good students. So you have a blend 50, 30, 20. At the end of the day, over 100. Upon which you now base your selection. While you would also not forget the idea of local government distribution, state distribution, catchment areas here and there. So at the end of the day, the idea of post-UTME is a good one. But where we have people bastardizing that idea, that's quite unfortunate.
Okay, on a final note, if you are to compare education in the olden days and now, what would be your position? That's a big one.
That's a big one. In the olden days, like we said earlier, our teachers toiled before they acquire knowledge. Let me give you an example when it comes to research. Before you publish an article as an academic staff in the olden days, you may have to order for a particular book. That book may not come till 2, 3, 4 months. You need certain material inside that textbook or a journal. You send for it, you wait for it for 3, 4, 5 months before you get it, before you even read it. Let alone picking what you need to pick from there. So they toiled before they acquire what they acquire. And by so doing, they value it. These days, they are all at our fingertips. It's like this Yoruba balance. Owoti, Aofi, Owoshe, Enyaro. So these days, it appears we don't really want to walk the way people walked in the olden days. These days, even with these devices we're talking about, you find students loitering about, working on those devices. You think they are searching for academic materials. No. They are just sending WhatsApp messages to friends, chatting. Well, we appreciate the advances in information technology. It has really assisted. It has really assisted. But the quality of education in the olden days was superb. Superb. You get to a university environment, you know you are in a university environment, in an educational setting. These days, you walk to some campuses, you find students in slippers, bedroom slippers. The kind of dress they put on. Is this a university student? In the olden days, when you get to a university, the horror, you even be proud that you visited a university, even if you are not a student.
Yeah, if you're only a visitor there.
So we pray that as we progress, that old glory will still be restored back to our educational system.
Well, thank you so much. Viewers, I've been speaking with the acting Vice Chancellor of Bola Ige University here in the state of Osun, Professor Oguntola Jeleel Alamu. He has been able to say one or two things as regards the educational sector in Nigeria, and also say very good things about his own school, Uniersity, of course, and the way it is and the way it was, and up till now, what they have been able to do and instill in the hearts of their students. I must say thank you so much.
You're welcome,
for coming on the program today.
Welcome.
Well, and until next time, when I shall come your way again on this program, my name is Deji Adifila. Have a good time. God bless you.